I'm going to begin, Don. I mean, at the beginning of the movie, Miles, well, yourself, you say, if you're going to tell a story, come with some attitude, is what is the line. And that's something that you really do. I mean, in regards to this movie, this is not a conventional sort of cradle to the grave biopic, is it?
Thank you. No, it's not, and I never wanted it to be. You know, it was something that I thought, especially with Miles Davis, has to feel like a composition, has to feel like a piece of music, has to be something that we feel like we're walking around inside his creativity. That was the pitch I made to the family, and you know, clearly them understanding who he was and what he was about and the kinds of lessons that he laid out there for the way people should approach their art, they were down with it.
Because like you said, it is like a sort of jazz composition, well, sorry, social music is what you'd like to call it.
Sorry, man.
I mean, do you think because of his personality, it gave you a license to be more spontaneous and a little bit more kind of haphazard with the way you approach the structure of the movie?
Less than because of his personality, but more so, I think, because of his own sort of, you know, dictates about approaching art, you know. He's someone who told his musicians that I pay you to practice in front of people, you know, play what's not there. He was the kind of guy who would come up behind Herbie when he was playing and take his left hand off the keyboard just to see what would happen, you know? So he was always about doing something that was innovative and looking for and reaching for new ways to express yourself and new sounds and new dynamics. So to take a movie like, you know, what we've seen, the kind of standard biopics, and apply that to Miles seemed like it would almost be an affront.
I mean, does it even frustrate you that this is even labelled as a biopic? Can that be sort of counterproductive for it to have that sort of on top of it?
Look, it was a fight that we used to fight all the time, and everybody'd say, we go, it's not a biopic, it's not a biopic. But at some point you just stop, because there is a sort of an historical precedent that's been established, and you're fighting uphill. You just hope that people don't come into the film thinking that there's been a bait and switch. So I think you guys have done a good job of allowing people to understand what it is they're in for. And I think when they go in with that, they don't feel like someone's told them a story. They're able to go with the movie.
I mean, rather than you go to the family for permission and sort of present this idea to them, it sounds more like the other way around. It sounded like they kind of headhunted you for the role. What happened there?
Yeah, well, it was a dance. I mean, me playing Miles Davis is something that had sort of been in the wind for a while, not just from the family, but from people that had played with Miles, Quincy Troop, Tootie Heath, people that I had known that had come into contact with other people that had played with Miles. And then when Miles was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2006, they were talking to his nephew and asked if there was going to be a movie about his life, and he said, yeah, Don Cheadle's going to play him. So that's sort of when they threw the gauntlet down. But when I met with them, they pitched me ideas that kind of felt like that standard telling. And I said, I don't want to do something like that. I want to do something innovative and crazy and impressionistic and gangster and out there. So that's kind of how the dance happened. And they said, okay, well, show me what that is. And then we jumped into that process.
And I mean, how important has their feedback been to you? And also, I mean, were you kind of at all apprehensive? Because this doesn't paint Miles out in a particularly sort of nice light at times. He can be quite selfish. He's not it doesn't eulogise over him like many biopics, is that word again, often do. I mean, how did you kind of navigate your way around that?
Well, thankfully, I didn't have to worry about making sure that we sanitized this or somehow did some kind of a whitewash, because Miles himself never did. You know, he was always very straightforward about what he has done and how he felt about it, and had a life of some regrets, but always owning his own stuff. So I didn't have to sort of, pussyfoot around that for the family. And as far as how I wanted to deal with this, everyone ultimately agreed and understood that the way to tell this incredibly creative, prolific artist story is in a way that's incredibly artistic. And to do something other than that would be an affront to Miles.
And of course, this is your directorial debut in a feature film. I was just wondering, have you found yourself to be almost more precious than usual? Are you paying more attention now to box office, to critical reception than you ever have? And is that something that, I mean, how have you kind of found that whole side of it?
Just the opposite. I don't read reviews. I don't want to keep watching the numbers. None of that really, because I have no control over any of that. All the control I have is what I did on the film and what I had under my hands, my performance, what we ultimately give out to the audience. And then after that, it's theirs. So, Somebody was sending me a bunch of good reviews. They were going, "This is a good one, read it." I said, "Send me the bad ones too," because they're all right. So I don't. Everyone's opinion is correct. It's their opinion, and I can't do anything about that. So I just hope to consistently and faithfully keep searching for the next way to put myself out there, and that's our job. It's that other part really is not up to us.
And just finally, a word on Captain America: Civil War. I'm not going to ask which side you're on, obviously, but
What's that movie? I don't know if I've heard of it.
Because I mean, every Marvel film is just a riotous success at the moment. I was just wondering what you kind of think the secret is, and if you think this kind of winning streak that you guys are on is just building up this confidence, and there must be a kind of swagger about the set at the moment, and just everyone involved.
I think the swagger is offset by the neuroses that it may not work. We're never at a position where, I don't know what it looks like from the outside, but from the inside, it's all, Hollywood's all fear-based. Everything is about what's not gonna work, and because it doesn't work, who's gonna lose their job. So it may seem like we have the swagger when the movie does what it does, but trust me, everyone is on pins and needles and has their fingers crossed and is, doing stuff with Kewpie dolls and sacrificing chickens to hope that happens.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. Cheers.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey, you guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yeah.
Nice.
Hey,